Cincinnati. Here it is. Scotty Sats. What do you have for us this year? First year head coach coming over by way of Louisville after our guy Luke Fickell left over to go to Wisconsin. That CD's definitely afraid of as a Minnesota fan. This is a really interesting team because, 2 years ago, they were in the playoffs as a G5 team. They were in the playoffs, right? And, of course, there was always talks that they'd move to Power 5. They finally make the move this year, and, of course, they get absolutely decimated because they're the holy grail of G5 coaches. Leaves, took the golden bullet.
Well, not even elite job. I'm sorry. I just want to rant out there for Cincinnati fans who are frustrated that Luke Fickell turned down the Notre Dame job, basically, and he went for Wisconsin, okay? He was waiting for, the rumor was he was only going to leave for Ohio State, and he left for Wisconsin. I'm sorry. Cincinnati fans, if you're upset, you should be, right? Luke Fickell hung you out to dry. And obviously, it was Wisconsin's a step up than Cincinnati, for sure. It absolutely is. Right, the Big Ten money, that's the Big Ten TV money that's going in there, is obviously going to be trickled down to Luke Fickell and whoever else he wants it to go to. But yeah, I think this is the worst timing, for Luke Fickell to leave because they are joining the Big 12. There's a reason why their win totals at 5.5, and to be honest, I'm leaning the under. It's not like it's it's a tough time to be a Cincinnati fan. Especially, it's been a rough office. I'm so sorry. It's been a rough offseason, right? They brought in a ton of transfers, though. Emory Jones, most notably at quarterback, right? He's still in college football, right? For you recruiting fans, you guys know he was at Florida for a while, was at Arizona State last year. Kind of got screwed by Herm Edwards and staff there. As soon as Scott Satterfield got Cincinnati, he called up Emory Jones and told him to come over here, and he did some nice things at Florida, right? He ran the ball well. But he did not do that at Arizona State. Right? They made him sit in the pocket, and that's not really his forte. But we know Satterfield, right, with Malik Cunningham last year, he likes to run the QB option. He likes to run the ball with his quarterback, and I think Emory Jones is a nice fit for him.
Yeah, no, it is definitely a nice fit. Look, I will salute to the people because, of course, before I really started looking into Cincinnati, saw the line at 4.5. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. If anything under, right? But I tip the cap to you lads and laddises that took them over 4.5 when it was there because I don't think this is as bad of a team as it looks. Yes, a lot of really good talent left, okay? But there is still talent there, and there's talent at important spots too. And I think fit is also a good key to there too. Scott Satterfield also, he knows how to build a roster. Right? He knows how to build a roster. I know Trey Tucker and Tyler Scott are gone at wide receiver. That is a huge loss, right? But
those are big losses.
Yeah, there's huge losses, but Xavier Henderson is fine, right? It's not like Emory Jones is going to be – whoever's at wide receiver there, it's not like Emory Jones is going to be able to dart him up anyways, right? Look, if Emory Jones is getting out there, and even if Emory Jones goes down, right, Evan Prater has a very similar skill set to Emory Jones. So this offense is going to be catered to both quarterbacks. So if you took the over at 4.5, say Emory Jones goes down because, he's running, he might be a little more susceptible to injury, you're just as likely as getting as much wins probably with Evan Prater there at quarterback, who I'm sorry, Cincinnati fans, that he did not turn out to be the guy that you guys thought he would be, but I'm sorry about that. But look, tight end's not great. It's Cincinnati, they have their Travis Kelce or whatever, but there's no Travis Kelce on your team this year, right? And last year, your defense kind of carried you as well. Ivan Pace is gone. Of course, his brother comes back in. Yeah, he's okay. Maybe wasn't so great last year, but I still believe in him. Secondary, you get a couple transfers in there. Jordan Young from Florida is a notable one. Byron Threats is still there. But the defensive line, when you're moving to a conference like the Big 12, right, it's good to have good defensive line. It really is. And I think that is something that they have right there. And it starts and ends with, I spelled Dante wrong, but Dante, the Don Corleone. He is an absolute monster. Also, I spelled Corleone wrong. Wow. I'm so sorry, Cincinnati fans. That's so
right.
bad.
I spelled Brian Threats wrong as well. It's Byron. Cincinnati, we let you down. We're worse than
we let you down, man. Cincinnati. We let you down. I'm so sorry. You guys deserve better. But yeah, look, I think Scott Satterfield might have done enough, right? Where like if they make a bowl game here, that'd be pretty awesome. If you look at the schedule, right? Eastern Kentucky, that's a win. Miami, Ohio, I think that's a win, right? And some of these games, like Houston is a winnable game. West Virginia is a winnable game. You get UCF at home. You don't have to go to the bounce house. That's huge. And you get Kansas at home, right? Like getting UCF and Kansas at home, I think is a big deal. Whereas like Houston, West Virginia, I think those are games you could go in there and win, right? I think Provo is a tough place to play. I don't think they can get a win there. And Iowa State at home. That's another big one to get at home. So they're like the schedule dynamic here, right? I know they get like it's not a super early bye, but right after that bye, right? Say they're like 2-3 coming out of that bye. Then they got a stretch where they go right. They get to play ISU at home and Baylor at home, right? If you steal one of those games, then you could really set yourself up to making a bowl game down the stretch. Got to win those games down the stretch, though. Houston, West Virginia, KU, even UCF at home. That's a big stretch, right? But I mean, I've listed 8 games that they could possibly win, right? So I think there's a chance that they could go over. There's too much volatility with this, so of course there's no play for me at all. But yeah, but we'll see. Good luck to you guys, Cincinnati. Good luck. Look, I'll be rooting for you guys for sure. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, like you said, 4.5. Credit to you guys who got that line. That's pretty darn good. Lot of moving in and out, changing pieces. That's why I'm scared to take the over there. But I do think like if you're Cincinnati, your goal this year should be to make a bowl game, right? Absolutely. But also to start separating yourself from the bottom half of the Big 12. You have to establish yourself as a legitimate Big 12 team, right? You have to beat BYU. You have to beat Houston, right? Those fellow teams that you're coming in with American, you got to beat those 2 teams, right? Houston's on the road. That's tough. So is BYU. That's tough too. But you also play West Virginia, right? On the team at the bottom half of the Big 12, and then also Iowa State, who's also been at the bottom half of the Big 12, and Kansas too. So like all those teams at the bottom half of the Big 12, you have to separate yourself from those teams, and you got to look like a legit contender to be able to go out and recruit or at a high level. Like UCF kind of hit the ground running before they even started, right, with recruiting and all that. So their momentum's kind of carrying over. But Cincinnati, I mean, the potential is there, and Ohio's a great state, right, of recruiting. But this year's got to be the year for them. I think a year they got to capitalize on, right? But I know it's gonna be hard, but you got to have Scott Satterfield needs to put the faith needs to have faith, or people need to have faith in Scott Satterfield. I'm so sorry, Cincinnati. You guys deserve better than me right now.
Yeah, I'll say Cincinnati fans, I think this is the big number that you guys need to improve this year, that third down percentage. And I think you will, right? Like last year, maybe it was a little bit too reliant on the explosive play, right? With Tyler Scott, Trey Tucker, right? Ben Bryant, mediocre quarterback. He is technically a Power 5 quarterback now. Not really, but he
Barely.
technically is, right? But I think like having a more mobile quarterback just allows you to convert some third downs maybe you wouldn't necessarily, and it allows you to keep those drives going that would normally stall out, right? That's what you're hoping for in the upside of Emory Jones and even Evan Prater there. But yeah, that's the big number. If that goes up, if you're a top 40 team on third down, I think that this could be a bull team for sure.